So hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe with Friendly Fox. And today's episode is titled When Industries Close. Now every now and again, industries, especially supply industries such as these oil wells, will eventually run out of the cargo that they produce and subsequently close down. Some production industries as well, such as factories and oil refineries, for example, will also close down if you don't supply them with goods. So that's what this episode is going to focus on. Eventually we are going to get the news bulletin that these oil wells will have dried up, and at which time we will be closing down this small branch line and converting the train to run a goods train instead, to run the oil, which will be coming in by tanker instead from the oil rig over here, to take goods over to Erdington Station, which will withdraw these two road vehicles which are currently doing that job. So we're just waiting on the news bulletin to come in, announcing the closure of Erdington Oil Wells. While we're waiting for the oil wells to close down, there is one more thing I'm going to do, which is modernising this track from Rindfield and an extension which I've already put in. The only thing I have to do is electrify the tracks, which I'm doing now. And so what that will now allow us to do is to change over the steam engines which have been running to Rindfield for the past 17 years and change them over for electric multiple units. So I'm going to send them to the depot on their next round trip. You see, eventually oil wells in the late 60s and early 1970s, oil wells in the temperate climate of Open Transport Tycoon will close down. And in fact, even in the original Transport Tycoon game, and oil rigs replace them, which are always out at sea or on lakes. So the superior way of transporting oil after the 1960s is by tanker ship, unless you can get your trains close enough to the oil rig, which usually means building a causeway out to it. And even then, oil rigs can close down without warning. So anyway, now we only have the two DMUs running the route from Rindfield, so now I'm going to put in the links, remove these, because they're no longer needed. Change over the signals to colour lights. Not all of them, of course, just most of them. And we can sell off the tank engine and mail wagons. And the carriages we can keep for new trains. So now we are going to build a couple of class 302 multiple units. That's a long one. No, we don't need that many, we just need two double car 302s. So there's one. So we'll send this train to Erdington. New station Lutway and Bartbridge. And we do the same thing with the next train. We can go down to Bartbridge and build a couple of Class 310 units. Yeah, let's do that. Go, we have new electric trains underway on the Rinfield to Bartbridge line. And there we go, the verdict is in. Erdington Oil Wells will be closing within the month. And there they go, they have disappeared. And so that allows us to put in the tracks so that we don't have this awkward junction anymore. But now this train has the last of its cargo and we have to send it to its destination with what it has. Then we're going to send it to the depot and refit it so that it can carry goods instead. And then we will put the tanker trucks out of commission. And there we go, the train is almost ready to begin service. We're just going to remove the old oil well station there and complete the electrification work there, link it up. And there we are. Just have to put the pathway signal in there and we are ready to run. There we go. And once this truck has dropped off its goods, it will be going to the depot as well. And of course the other thing that we have to watch out for is our other company, Chuntfield Transport, which also has its oil well oil supply route between Winningville Oil Wells and the oil refinery at Plumbury. So this train has actually been losing money for quite some time now, only making a meagre profit, which is usually eaten up by its running costs, as was seen with the last year's profit being in the negative and having costing £8,539. So this is the last run for this train. We're going to send it one more time to the oil refinery, and then we're going to send it to this depot where it will become a coal train. And I've already made preparations. Train 3 is being sold off, so that leaves us with just one train running coal at the moment. And we're going to build new hoppers, which recently came available, for both trains. So once this train is loaded up, I shall resume recording for its final journey. Although just as a little distraction, I did put in a new coal route with heritage rolling stock, that being a tram locomotive and a tank engine. So these two trains provide a frequent coal service between Sentborough Bay Coal Mine and the Nudinghead Cross Power Station, which is quite a ways away from our other operations. It's on the other side of the lake where we were not Driftington, was no, I've forgotten the name of it. It is... well, anyway, it was all the way at the other end of the map. The only reason I started servicing this mine at all was because it had a pretty good supply rate, and the power station wasn't very far away, so it was tempting to put in some heritage trains. But now, though, I think we will return to our oil train. Just checking in on our road vehicles because the oil train is still loading. Production has gone down, so this farm may well close down in the future too. But what I'm actually going to do is send our livestock vehicles to the depot, because there's not very much profit in them anymore. There's much more profit in the grain than there is in the livestock. So there's one, here comes the second one. Still loading. And there we are. There is the verdict for the closure of Winningville Oil Wells. So we'll stick around and see them disappear as well. And there they go. So, there is no more oil for this train. So what we're going to do now is send it on to its final destination with its current load. And promptly remove the station and track. Unlike the the oil refinery at the end of the road at Erdington here, this oil refinery has no other supply. There are no oil rigs within transportation range, and any oil wells which still exist will be closed down. We're going to send this train into the depot and receive its new hoppers and removal of the brake van. And there's another set of oil wells which are due to close as well. So we're going to wait a little bit until that train's out of the way, so let's hang around and see these oil wells disappear spectacularly as well. Usually within a month they disappear from the closure announcement. And if this happens to any of your factories or any other supply industries, steel mill, sawmill, this gives you time to reroute your trains to a new destination, because once the industry is gone, that station will no longer accept that cargo. Or in the case of a coal mine closing down, that station will no longer produce coal, or likewise with iron ore and forests, which are the main production industries in the temperate climate, that is. So we just wait for this train to skedaddle, and then we'll send train 2 into the depot to receive its new hoppers. So here comes train 2 now. We're going to sell off those tanker wagons and put it onto a coal train. So a meagre income from selling those, and we need to change the orders to match those of train number 1, which is now on its way to deliver this fresh batch of coal. Inflation is a part of this game too, so no longer do these trains produce just a meagre £11,000 in income. They're now to produce £18,000 for doing the same job and delivering slightly more coal than the predecessor did with the smaller coal hoppers. The next thing we're going to do is close down this branch and remove the tracks. And then the next thing we need to do is head over to our other company to sell off the oil tankers here. So now back under the flagship of Broodingville Transport. This truck still has some cargo, so I'm going to send it for one last run to deliver it. This one is empty, and we're going to send that one straight to the depot. Here's another factory, which is a factory in which is closing down. So within a month we will see that disappear, so I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. This is the factory which is close to our newly upgraded electrified line at Neningbur. And there we are. The factory is gone. I'm just going to go find our vehicles. It went back there again, so we're going to demolish that and demolish the lorry station there. Yes, I'm British. I did say lorry and not truck. But I think what we are going to do is, now that we have a shortage of vehicles, we have numbers missing, we are going to operate a bus service in Plumbury to help it grow a little bit faster. And we will use the Leyland Titan double-deckers for this, vehicles 9 and 10, changing over from Plumbury Forest, Plumbury Woods. We're going to put the order in as Plumbury. This one's going to Plumbury Forest, which is the railway station, and this one's going to Plumbury to start service there. So that marks the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and there will be more from me soon.